Hi guys, welcome to AndroGuider. So in this video, we will be doing a review of LineageOS 14.1 for the Android One devices. So this ROM is based on the latest maintenance release of Android, which is Nougat 7.1.2. The ROM also incorporates in the June 5, 2017 security patch, and this is an unofficial build of the ROM for the Android One 4GB variants, which are the Sprout 4 devices, and the build date of the ROM is 28th of June. Okay, so the way we are going to go about this review is that I will be mentioning the good stuff about the ROM, then I will talk a bit about the bugs, and then we will do some performance testing, and in the end I will give you a couple of tips. Okay. So the good stuff about the ROM is that I was pretty amazed with the standby time. Okay, so I haven't actually charged this device since the last 2 days, and I just kept it lying there. I didn't use it at all, and you can see that it's only now that I have started using it, and since the last 2 days only 30% of battery drained. I will just open up kernel orator, and I will let you guys take a look at take a look at the device, the CPU frequencies. Okay, so you can see it's almost 116 hours. That is approximately 2 days since the device was last charged to 100%. And just take a look at that deep sleep timeout. It's approximately 112 hours, so that's really very amazing. I had also underclocked the CPU to 1040 megahertz, but again, just take a look at that deep sleep timeout. The device was in deep sleep mode for 95% of the standby time, so that's pretty outstanding. And yeah, I'm currently using the dark one kernel, if some of you want to take a look at that. So the dark one kernel, it's one of the two Nougat based kernels which are available for the Android One devices. The other kernel is the Fusion kernel by Summer, the ROM developer who has made LineageOS 14.1 for Android One. And it's because of him that we are finally seeing a stable build of Nougat on our Android One devices. Okay, so yeah, that's one of the great features of the ROM. And rest in general, we will just quickly take a look at the features which the ROM has to offer in general. So under the more settings, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, SIM cards, data usage, more, the first four options are pretty basic. I'll just take a look at let you guys have a look at the data usage option. Yeah, so the mobile data does work, although I don't use mobile data much myself, but I just did some testing out for you guys, and well, mobile data does work, although I don't have any subscribed plan for this connection for mobile data. But yeah, I did test it, and mobile data definitely works. Okay, and it works on both the sims. If you plan to use two sims, then mobile data will work on both the sims. And then if you want to this is one of the tips which I would like to give you. If you want to decrease the amount of mobile data which is utilized by apps running in the background, then I will recommend you to enable this data saver mode. Also, there's a quick setting toggle available for the same. We'll be taking a look at the quick setting toggles later on, so you can enable that from here. Okay, yeah, and that's pretty much it. Then under more, you have the airplane mode, tethering and portable hotspot. Again, hotspot, share it, apps like share it, Zender, all of them are working fine. I did try them out as well. And VPN, and then network settings reset if you want to do all that stuff. Okay, then we have got the display settings. So first up, we have brightness level, adaptive brightness, live display. Again, if you want to enable that, you can do that, automatic day night, and then you can also do some color calibration as per your need. Then we have got the rotation settings. So this is where the option of rotating rotating lock screen is present, and 180 degrees rotation is also present in here. Then you can tweak the wallpaper, sleep timeout settings. The minimum limit is 15 seconds, and the maximum timeout limit is 30 minutes. Then screensaver, again, you can configure that as per your need. Wake on plug, prevent accidental wake ups, expanded desktop, and then you can tweak the font size as well. That's completely up to you. And then in the end you can also configure the display size. So if you increase the display size, lesser contents will be shown on the screen, and as you decrease the display size, again you can see that the changes are being implemented spontaneously. So you can all that as per your convenience. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just let it adjust. Yeah. Okay. So, and in the end we have got the option of casting. So if you are using an Android TV and you would like to cast the contents being shown on your Android on the screen of your Android device onto the Android TV, then you can make use of that option. Then we have got notification settings. So this is where Android Nougat brings in additional controls as compared to Android Marshmallow. So Android Nougat gives you more controls over your notifications than Marshmallow. So in case you want to tweak the notifications, first up you will have to tap on this A button, which will disable the automatic mode, and then you can configure the notification level individually for each app. So always peak and allow full screen interruption, show at top of the notification list. Then there are a couple of different levels in here, and you can choose any level of your choice, or if you want you can simply just tap on this A mode, and then if you want to override do not disturb mode, minimum time between notification sounds. So this option of being able to tweak the notification level, this is power notifications control, and this is another great addition which we had in Nougat. And similarly you can do that for each and every app in here. Then we have got the sound settings. So you can configure the media volume, alarm volume, ring volume, notification. Then if you want to link the ringtone and notification volume, then you can do that. I personally prefer to disable it. Then increasing ring volume, if you want to enable that as well. Vibrate for calls, do not disturb mode, phone ringtone, default ringtone, you can configure all that. And then if you want to launch the music player automatically when the headsets are connected, you can enable this option. Other sounds, dial pad tones, screen locking sounds, charging sounds. Again you can also enable vibration while charging, and you can configure that notification sound. And volume adjustment sounds, vibrate on tap, you can tweak that as per your need. And then cast was present in there as well. Then storage, so by default we have got about 2 gigs of free internal storage. So there's ample space for installing free apps, for installing your apps. And additionally if you want you can also insert a micro SD card, and that will make the job easier for you. And you can then use applications like app to SD or link to SD to further transfer your apps from internal storage to external storage. If you prefer to install more apps, then you can use link to SD or app to SD. Then we have got the battery settings. Okay, so I have already told you guys about the amazing standby time which I had, and you can then configure the battery saving settings. We have got the extreme power saver mode and automatic power saver. The maximum percentage has now been increased by LineageOS from 15% to 25%. So again that's something great that we are seeing. And by the way, I hadn't enabled the extreme power saver mode when the device was in the standby mode for those 2 days. I didn't use the device at all. I just plugged it off after it got charged to 100%, and it has been like this since then. So yeah, the standby time is pretty amazing. And battery optimization, again well, you can if you don't want the battery to be optimized for certain apps, then you can configure that from in here. So basic stuff, nothing new in here. Then we have got the memory settings. Well, again the RAM, the amount of RAM which is used, it completely depends upon your usage. If you are someone who is a hardcore user who plays a lot of games, then definitely your memory usage will vary. So the memory usage will vary as per how you use your device. and that's completely dependent upon you. Okay, then users. Okay, so this is one of those things which I mentioned in each and every Nougat based ROM review that I do. So just make sure that you fill out this emergency information section. So this is where you can enter your name, address, blood types, allergies, medications, organ donors, medical notes, and you can also enter the contact information of your loved ones. Yeah, so the reason why I recommend this each and every time is that God forbid if you ever run into any accident, then if someone tries to contact your loved ones, then they will be able to access this emergency information, and this emergency information can even be viewed on a secure lock screen. So if you have got a pin or a password lock or a pattern lock, then the person who picks up your phone, they will be able to view this emergency information on that lock screen as well. So just make sure you fill this up, and it's pretty nice to be on the safer side of things. Okay, and yeah, I got some dogs barking in the background. um, okay, then moving on to gestures. We have got two of them. Jump to camera and double tap to sleep on the status bar, so you can enable them or disable as per your choice. Buttons, again, backlight timeout. Again, this not much important for Android 1 users. Then we have got the left-handed mode, show the arrow keys while typing, buttons and layout. So this is the navigation bar editor which we have in here. So basically I will just try and give you guys an idea on how this works. So you can see that spacer, it is this represents a bit some indentation from the left edge. So spacer, it just gives space between wherever you will place it. So just say if I just move the spacer in here, you can see on how the navigation bar preview is changing. Then similarly we have got the home button, overview button, menu slash keyboard switcher. Going to add buttons option, we have got a couple of them: search, spacer, clipboard, and keycode. Okay, so again, the search button, if you want to have that, you'll just tap on the save option, and now when you tap on the search button, it's pretty much it's not doing anything. I think this is actually related to the Google Assistant, I believe, but since we haven't got support for Google Assistant by default, we can't use this actually. Anyway, I will also mention a way on how you can get Google Assistant on your Android 1 device. I plan to make a separate video on that. So yeah, I think I will get a separate video out on how to get Google Assistant on your Android devices. Those of you, since Google has that minimum requirement of having 1.5 GB of minimum RAM, only then your device will be able to run Google Assistant. But there are always certain workarounds using which you can get Google Assistant. So I will be covering about that workaround in one of my other videos. So I will follow this video shortly with that video, so stay tuned for that. For the moment I will just remove the search button, and then we have got the clipboard and the keycode button. Okay, so the keycode buttons allow the keyboard keys to be added to the navigation bar. When pressed, they emulate the selected keyboard key. First, the key must be selected for the button, followed by an image to be shown on the button. Okay, so I think the description pretty much sums up the functionality of this navigation bar key. So again, you can configure this as per your need, whether you want to run the camera or anything. So you can do a lot of stuff with this: media record, media rewind, skip forward, skip, stop. So a lot of additions in here, and you can do that. I will just cover up the clipboard functionality. So the clipboard allows items to be dragged directly to the keyboard. Items can also be dragged directly out of the clipboard when present. Okay, so I think we saved it. Sorry, we'll just head over back to buttons and layout. We'll cross this out, and we will add the clipboard button. Okay, and tap on save. Okay, so let's head over and type something in here. Maybe let's say hi. So select all, let's copy this, and now when I just tap this here, and well, there we go. So this is, I hope you guys were able to understand this. Just do this once again. there we go. Okay, so yeah, this is what the clipboard function is all about. You can also do vice versa as well. You can select content and then drag it down to the clipboard as well. So I would rather prefer to, you know, directly just select the text from here and copy it directly. I prefer to do that, but if you want to use the keyboard navigation bar button, you can also do that as well. Again, I'll just go back and reset this. Yeah, then we have got the power menu tweaks. So these are all the options which we have, and once you have enabled all the options, so this is how the power menu looks like, and we also have that emergency button down below. Okay, so and then we have got press the power button to cut the call, long press for the torch, and then we have got a bunch of home button settings, and yeah, you can also configure the long press and the double tap actions. Okay, so these are the list of settings which we have. And yeah, single-handed mode is also present. Again, if you guys want to take a look at that, although, you know, since the Android One devices are too small, actually the one-handed mode doesn't make much sense, but still, for the sake of showing it, this is you can still use this feature if you want to. And then you can also configure, we have got similar options for double tap action, for configuring the double tap action. Then you can use the back button to wake the device. Again, that doesn't make much sense in case of Android One devices, since we don't have hardware keys, we only use navigation bar keys much. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Then the short press action, long press action, you can do that for the menu button, search button. Again, that doesn't make yeah, okay, so I'm guessing that the search button functionality, which we could have added in here, we can actually use that. Okay, so let's try and run this very quickly. I'll just go back and we will maybe let's select the short press action for the single-handed mode, and let's see. Okay, so that doesn't work. Yeah, so maybe the search button is for something else, but I haven't still been able to make out what the search button is for. Anyway, I'll just remove this and we will move on. Okay, yeah, and then in the end we have got a bunch of settings for the volume rocker keys. You can use them to wake the device, answer the call. Then we have got control playback, so you can this is playback control, you know, so you can long press the volume keys to skip the music tracks when your device is off. Then control the ringtone volume instead of the media volume. Keyboard cursor control is present in as well. I prefer to have this option in. And then you can reorient the device keys, the volume keys, when the device is rotated. Okay, then few settings other than that. Location, again, I'll just turn this off for the moment. Security settings, okay, so you can configure the lock screen message, the bottom lock screen shortcuts, display music visualizer, display media cover art, display double tap to sleep anywhere. Again, that's that's a valid addition, and you can also show the weather on the lock screen. Okay, so I'll just cover up this option also. And unknown sources is not enabled by default, so in case you plan to sideload any apps, make sure you enable that. And you can choose from these locks: pattern, pin, or password. We've got 3 types of secure lock screens, and you can also configure the grid size: 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, or 6x6. Again, some great feature additions in here. Then we have got the privacy settings, privacy guard. I have made a separate tutorial on that, so in case you want to learn more on how you can use privacy guard to control the permissions for malicious apps, and on also how you can use it as a tool for saving up on some of your battery juice, then just check out that tutorial. Okay, status bar settings. Okay, so we have got quick pull down in here, left or right, you can choose that. I prefer to have the right one. Then show notification count, system icons. So from here in you can enable or disable a bunch of icons. Headset icon option is present in here. And then if you want to show the seconds in the clock, then you can show that from in here. Okay, so just for the sake of it, if you just want to disable the Wi-Fi icon from the status bar, you just disable it and it disappears, and when you enable it, it will reappear. Then you can configure the position of the clock, right, center, or left. You can show or hide the AM/PM style, battery. We have got three couple of options: portrait icon, landscape icon, circle. And then if you want to show the battery percentage inside the icon or next to the icon, you can do that. I personally just prefer to have the text option enabled. Then brightness slider, auto brightness, brightness control, you can configure all that. Then we have got the system profiles. Again, basic. This is pretty much something which you will have to set up yourself, but again, I will just give you guys a quick overview of what we have. So this is the default profile. So you can configure when should this profile be triggered. So say if please select when what will activate this profile. So when you are, say we are I currently am connected to the Wi-Fi network AndroGuider. So when should this particular profile be triggered? When I connect to this particular Wi-Fi network, or when I disconnect from it. So this is actually similar, a bit too similar to Tasker. If you have used Tasker, then you will understand what triggering means. So in just as we have in Tasker, when should a particular profile be triggered, similarly we have got which profile should be triggered and when should it be triggered. So again, if you want to, say, enable mobile data whenever you get away from your Wi-Fi, what you can do is just select on disconnect. So with the AndroGuider, this profile will be triggered when we are disconnected from the Wi-Fi network AndroGuider. And you can also similarly set up Bluetooth for that. And then what should happen to the wireless and network settings? Bluetooth, if you want Bluetooth to be turned on, so that you can connect to some wireless headsets or Bluetooth headsets or something like that, then you can enable Bluetooth. GPS, if you want to enable that. Auto sync data connection. So if you want your mobile data to be turned on, simply just press turn on data. So next time when you are disconnected to the Wi-Fi network AndroGuider, the data connection will automatically be turned on. So again, you can select, you can tweak all the settings as per your need. And maybe if you want to if you don't want a secure lock screen when you get disconnected to a particular from a particular network, then you can disable the lock screen. And you can pretty much do stuff similar to this. Okay, I will just turn off that trigger. Oh, sorry. Okay, so yeah, this is how you can. And then you can also add profiles. Yeah, so that's what we have got under system profiles. Then backup and reset. Again, you can configure that as per your needs. And then in the end, we have got the developer options. So advanced restart, this is present in here. And root access. Okay, so LineageOS doesn't ship with root access by default. And so if you want, you will if you want to have root access, then you will have to flash the root add-on which LineageOS supply you. Or if you are someone who prefers to use Snapchat, then maybe you will have to ensure that you don't break safety net. So you will have to go with the systemless root means like Magisk or SuperSU. So I will be having links to all these three down below in the description box. So just make sure you use any routing method of your choice. But if you want to have root access, you will have to flash either the root add-on supplied by LineageOS, or you can flash Magisk, SuperSU, anything of your choice. I will be having links, all the download links down below in the description box. Okay, then Android debugging, you can enable that. I will recommend you to enable this if you plan to restore your apps using Titanium backup. Then mock location app, you can tweak that. Then we have got a bunch of Wi-Fi settings, animation settings, and then by configuring the smallest width attribute, you can configure the overall DPI of your device. And then in the end, we have got the kill app back button. And okay, so if you are someone, again, if who wants to utilize more of the external SD card space, then you can enable this option so that the data of the external of the apps is stored on external storage. Okay, so just in case if you want to enable this option, you can enable that. And as I told you, we have got that kill app back button in the end. Yeah, so that's all what we have in the basic settings. Okay, so very quickly I will just show you guys a couple of other things. So these are the quick setting tiles which we have. These are the quick setting tiles which I have enabled, and these are the ones which you can add on. Okay, so I hope that you guys were able to have a look. There are a couple of other quick setting tiles like force doors, which you will obtain only after you install certain apps. Again, I'll be covering that up in the end. So yeah, and then just a quick look at the apps. We get audio effects, we have got the jelly browser, and then the Snapdragon camera. Then we have got a pretty nice gallery app as well. The gallery app also has its inbuilt image editor. Then we have got a music player, recorder, all that stuff. And then we have got something y GPS. This LineageOS doesn't ship with y GPS by default, but I think someone has included this app in the just for testing purposes. So yeah, everything was working fine. I didn't encounter any issues, but now I'll just do a just a quick wrap up of the bugs which I experienced, and the bugs which are known in the ROM. Okay, so one of the things which I experienced was when you turn on Bluetooth, you see something like Fly IQ4413. So instead of the model name or of the Android One device, we have got something like that. So again, it's not a pretty big deal, but again, it's just one of the minor bugs which I noticed. And then another bug which I came across was that if you try to factory reset your phone from the backup and reset option, then you won't be able to do that. And additionally, at times I have noticed that some this is, I don't encounter this much, but I have noted this a couple of times when I have turned off again I will just try and okay. So yeah, what I was saying was that sometimes the summaries in the settings menu, they actually don't match up with the setting I have set. So say if the location is turned on at times, then it will show as the location off in the setting summary. So I haven't experienced this bug much, but this bug is present. Definitely it is in there. You will notice it at times. And some other things which I would like to mention is that if you are okay, if you will just take a quick look at the settings. So well, okay, so as you can see, double tap to sleep, it doesn't work. It only works when you are touching on the top third region of the screen. Else if you touch anywhere else, it won't work. So only if you are touching in the top three corner, in the top third region of the lock screen, somewhere below the clock, somewhere above the clock, then only you will be able to turn off your screen by double tapping, turn off the device screen by double tapping. Okay. Yeah, so coming over to the weather, the ROM doesn't have its own weather provider. So if you plan to view the weather in LineageOS 14.1, then you will have to install a weather provider. The weather provider which I am using is the Yahoo weather provider by CyanogenMod. Again, this is a pretty old one, but actually the CyanogenMod weather provider by Yahoo, it was used back in I think the Marshmallow ROMs, and most of the Nougat based ROMs these days, they prefer to use Open Weather Map instead of the Yahoo weather provider. So again, all it's pretty old, but Yahoo weather provider does work, and in fact this is the only one which I could get to work with this build of the ROM. So I will be having a link down below in the description box for the APK file of Yahoo Weather Provider. You won't be able to find this on the Google Play Store, so you will have to download this from the link which I have mentioned down below in the description box. It will be a link of APK Mirror. So just go ahead and then you will have to install this weather provider, and then you can configure that temperature unit, Celsius or Fahrenheit, and then once you are done, you can either use a custom location, or you can also enable that from the update interval directly, or you can tweak that update interval as well, manual, and the maximum is 8 hours. 30 minutes is the minimum limit of automatic checking, and 8 hours is the maximum timeout. Okay, and then you can configure the icon set, show when minimized, font color, timestamp, and all that stuff. Okay, so if you want to view the weather, then make sure you install that Yahoo Weather Provider from down below in the description box. Okay, and I guess since I had, okay, now the weather should work actually. Or well, I don't know, maybe it's not able to reach the weather provider currently, but as you would have seen, it was working in the starting, and the weather on the lock screen is also working. So again, this just might start working at whenever the Yahoo weather, whenever the weather is refreshed next. So again, this is Yahoo Weather Provider does work. Trust me guys, trust me on that. The weather provider will work only if you install the Yahoo Weather Provider. Okay, you can also find a couple of other weather providers out there, but personally I prefer to use the Yahoo Weather Provider. I did try out Open Weather Map by the Mocky ROM developers, but again, you have to do some other stuff for that. You will have to register on their website, obtain an API key, and only then you will be able to utilize their weather API. So instead of that, Yahoo Weather Provider works out of the box. You don't have to indulge in some sort of complicated setup like you would have to do for Open Weather Map. So I would advise you guys to stick with Yahoo Weather only. Okay, now coming over to the I'll just take some time and cover up a few minor things which are left. So these are the wallpapers which the ROM has, which the ROM includes by default. So I've got a nice set of wallpapers, a great bunch of them, and widgets. These are the ones which we have. Okay, and settings, again, the stock launcher is Trebuchet, and I have made a separate tutorial on how you can use Trebuchet. So in case you want to know more on how to customize that launcher, I will be having a link down below in the description box for that tutorial, so make sure you check that out as well. And again, another thing, if you guys plan to use a custom Nougat based kernel for tweaking the charging rates, or for using ThunderX governor and the Thunder plug, so for that, one thing which I would like to mention in here is that the stock the kernel auditor, the one you will find on the Play Store, that won't allow you to configure the charge rates, the charging speeds. Although it does show you that option of charge rate, it doesn't it won't allow you to configure the charging speeds. And if I head over to the Play Store, I just quickly want to show you guys yeah, okay. So the latest build of kernel auditor, it actually mentions that it fixes there are some fixes to thunder charge, and I'm on the latest build only, but never mind that the thunder charge doesn't work. You won't be able to tweak the charging speeds on kernel auditor, but if you use ZS controls, which is a modified version of kernel auditor by Swapnil Solanki. If you don't know him, then Swapnil made the ZS kernel, which again, it's one of the most popular kernels for Android One devices, and he will be having a Nougat based version of ZS kernel out soon as well. So again, stay tuned for that. And so yeah, if you want to configure the charging rates, the charging speeds of thunder charge, then you will have to use that modified version of kernel auditor by Swapnil Solanki. So I will be having a link down below in the description box for that as well. Again, make sure if you want to tweak your charging speeds, then you have to use the modified version of kernel auditor by Swapnil, and the uh, the Thunders app application, which Thunders app control, which allows you to configure various kernel settings as well. That won't work on Dark One and the Fusion kernel. The Thunders app control application won't allow you to tweak the charging rates, and that application only works with the Thunders app kernel. So yeah, so if you want to tweak those charging speeds, then make sure you download ZS controls from the link which I will be having down below in the description box. Okay, now just some performance testing. Again, the ROM is really very smooth, and you won't be having many problems with the frame drops or anything of that sort. Okay, so we'll just take a while to load up, but again, there aren't any frame drops which you will see. Even when I'm screen recording this, you might notice some lag because of that, but it's all because I am screen recording this. I'll just decrease the okay, so I pressed the volume key instead, and well, okay, so just for the sake of it, the camera does work, and you can see. I'll take a couple of sample pictures if you want me to. Okay, so the camera does work, and you can also edit the image if you want to, and as I had mentioned, the gallery has a really very nice inbuilt editor which will allow you to edit the image. Okay, so the camera works, the selfie camera also works, but the only bug which we have in here is that video recording doesn't work. So whenever you try to access, go to video camera, it will show you that it will show you the what it can capture from the backlens, but once you tap on the button, it will, the camera application will stop working. Of the camera application. Okay, so that won't work, and we'll just head over, and I just wanted to show you guys that everything does work fine indeed. You might be noticing a couple of frame drops right now, but that's because I'm screen recording this video, and well, the overall performance, it's really very nice. I didn't have any complaints while playing even intensive games, but again, you can't expect much out of a phone which has only 1 gigs of RAM. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the performance part. So the ROM is smooth, and you won't be having much trouble. And the only other bug which I could come across in the ROM was that the mobile network was pretty was unstable at times. It went in and out of the network zone sometimes. I don't know, the signal was dropping at times, and maybe it is also possible that I wasn't in a region which had a good network connection, but I don't know, maybe it can also be a bug with the ROM. But yeah, I did face a couple of call drops as well, so I won't say that the ROM is completely stable, but again, it's great to see that we finally have a great build of Nougat for our Android One devices. And additionally, the ROM also has inbuilt support for the Substratum theme engine. So all you need to do is, if you want to start theming LineageOS, then just head over to the Play Store and download the Substratum theme engine from the Play Store. Again, I will be having link down below in the description box for the Substratum theme engine as well. And yeah, now just coming to the conclusion of the video, the tips which I have to give you guys. Now for battery backup, I would recommend you guys to install Force DOS. Now this is something so you can just pretty much I'll just read this out. Force DOS enables DOS the moment you turn off your screen. It also disables motion sensing, so DOS doesn't accidentally deactivate unless it's time to execute maintenance jobs, making battery savings much higher than the standard DOS functionality. Okay, so again, I will recommend you guys to give this a shot. This is one of the great add-ons which we have, and this application does require root. And you can turn this off while charging. I'm just giving you guys an outlook on what settings this on what settings force dose has. So yeah, this is what force dose has. You can configure the dose delay, disable Wi-Fi during dose, motion sensing during dose. Yeah, so I guess this pretty much sums up this video. I don't have any tips except that uh, use yes control and force dose, and then you can also enable the data saver mode if you want to restrict the background data usage. And if you are going for a systemless interface like Magisk for as your root preference, then you can also make use of some modules like Greenify for Magisk. That actually allows you to use Greenify. Again, I will recommend you guys to use try out Greenify as well, and use that along with Greenify for Magisk, because that Greenify for Magisk will allow you to use the boost mode in Greenify. So again, I will be having a link down below in the description box for a XDA thread on Greenify for Magisk, and that actually will give you a bunch of info on what the module is about and how you can use it. Yeah, so these are the only tips, and it's finally great to see Nougat on our Android One devices. And yeah, if you want to use the weather, if you want to view weather, make sure you install the Yahoo weather provider as well. So yeah, this pretty much wraps up this video. So in case you like the video, hit that like button, and in case you want to get a notification whenever we upload our future videos through this channel, then do subscribe to us as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice day, take care, and we will catch you guys in the next one.